I think this was the main event of the weekend. I don't
Oh
care
yeah.
whatever happened after that. But Saturday night was the time for fighting, and that was it was kind of like the Ollie Foreman, Tyson Holyfield of our generation. Snoopy versus Slasher, Boston versus Carolina. Obviously, we've talked about quite a bit the relationship between Snoopy and Slasher and how it broke down very quickly and very publicly last season when Slasher was a part of the Boston Breach. Uh, I would say they're probably not good friends if I'm just going to go out on a limb there. And this was their first meeting in the CDL. Since then, Slasher didn't play the rest of the season last season. And Snoopy, was wowing away on the Boston Breach, winning like whatever it was, 5 or 6 matches that entire season. They finally meet on Saturday. You picked Carolina. I picked Boston. I think we were both kind of rubbing our hands together, waiting for this one. And my boy Snoopy, he did not disappoint whatsoever. The Breach end up winning this series 3-1. Snoopy has some pretty good games. Purge, who got slandered on the TL so much early last season when he was a part of the Vegas Legion, and he got dropped and everything. He goes 45-20 in the second hard point to close out the series. Slasher did not have a good series whatsoever. Your thoughts? Are you ready to apologize for taking Slasher's side in this beef?
I'm not gonna go that far. I will say I was definitely disappointed by the end result. I was hyping it up on the podcast last week, and I said I was expecting Slasher to drop a 1.8 and just go, raised earth or what. That's not the right
It
saying.
was more like a point 0.8, not a 1.8.
Yeah, he definitely did not have a, like I don't know why it sticks in my head, but I just remember last year Major One, he had that 1.4 and one map at Major One, and him and Ghosty like had the highest KDs for the event because they only played one series in the loser bracket and then they lost. But nonetheless, I just overall, yeah, I really I thought this was Slasher's chance to, you know, show everybody that his way is the right way, and just that was a weird way of putting it, but this was Slasher's chance to get his revenge for that whole situation last year with Snoopy in Boston, and he wasn't able to do it. And obviously, it's an online match. We might see this showdown again on LAN. I hope we do. Maybe that'll bring out the best because we know Slasher's a great LAN player, and that's where he really thrives. Um, but even I know Miles and Chance, or maybe it was just Miles. They were both even saying during the broadcast, like at some points it felt like Slasher was dying in 2 bullets, or I believe Miles' exact words, like it feels like he's playing with himself because it just felt like he was getting eviscerated in some of these gunfights. Um, but I do think the big picture thing here was I think it was Nameless on the desk talking about Carolina's hard point as of late. Um, just not looking as strong as when they initially were having success. I know, again, small sample size in the grand scheme of things, um, but that was at least a talking point out of the desk on the CDL broadcast, and that showed up in this series. They lose 2 hard points to Boston. Uh, as you mentioned, the Purge Masterclass performance, 45-20. I saw a clip from Zuma. He was either on the flank or his watch party. He was basically like just raising the question: is this one of the greatest single map performances in Call of Duty esports history? Because this is, again, like we were talking about the Hook 39-18 earlier this weekend, like 45-20. That's over a 2 KD again. Like that's just that's got to be another score Agami or stat line Agami for COD esports. Because I can't think of any other 45-20 performances. So that was just a really strong showing out of Purge there. Um, but overall, yeah, Carolina is able to win the search, but Boston took care of business in the respawns, and mostly highlighted by um, that dominant showing in the vault hardpoint. Again, another vault hardpoint where someone's dropping 40 plus kills. Um, so yeah, I guess round one of the Snoopy versus Slasher beef slash rivalry in 2025 goes to Snoopy. We'll have to see what happens in round two.
Yeah, and I think it should be noted also this is Carolina's first loss in the major one qualifiers. Obviously, they lost
Yeah.
in the minor, but they had gotten to the grand finals of that minor. They had looked pretty good. They had beaten Optic. So for Boston, I just gotta say, like Boston has looked incredible for especially for what we expected of them to this point in the season. They've already won 4 matches, so they're like I don't know, like halfway to their season total from last year and we're only 3 weeks into the season. Right now, they're tied for third in the CDL with Carolina and LAT. So I'm not sure how that tiebreaker ends up working out, but they're in a really good spot, and they're just looking so much better than I think anybody could have or would have anticipated. And hats off to them. They're doing a great job.